As soon as I told her I would be staying at my parents', she got really quiet and asked me if I'd told my parents yet. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Ara Zone Stories. Today we have a story where this woman got shocked when her husband told her that he will divorce her because he knows everything. Let's see what happened afterwards. My wife and I have been together for 5 years and married for 3. The past 2 years have been pretty stressful for her and me as she was finishing up a master's in a really competitive program. The last year of the program was last year and it really pushed her hard. During that time, our time in the bedroom dwindled away to nothing, as she was always either studying or in class. She finished the master's June of last year. I was expecting that things would pick up in the bedroom again after it was over, but it hasn't. She still turned me down all the time, stressing about finding a job. It's to the point where the last time we had bedroom activity was April of 2018. Every time I tried initiating, or doing a date night, or being romantic, it always ends up with her being too tired. I even told her I'd settle for dirty talk every once in a while, but she didn't feel like doing that either. I suggested we go to counseling. She said she would find a counselor she liked. I waited, asked again. She called me selfish. I gave up. I lost my mind for the first couple of months, and then I decided to just focus on myself and start working out and keep doing my own thing. Before the lack of bedroom activity thing, we had a pretty good relationship, but now it's gotten to be more like roommates than husband-wife. Fast forward to this past weekend. We went out to watch the Super Bowl with another couple who are good friends of ours. While we were at the sports bar, we met and started hanging out with a random group of people also watching the game. A very attractive woman who was part of that group kept winding up next to me and making small talk with me, and looking at me in a way that was obviously flirting. I kept it clean, but definitely kept up the banter. When the girl went to the bathroom, my wife pulled me over and said, in front of our couple friends, something to the effect of, "It's obvious that girl is into you. I don't want you talking to her." Something about the way she said it to me triggered something, and I just came back with something like, "I'm just happy to have some attention, baby." It's been a long time, almost a year now. She looked shocked. Then angry, then angrier. Our friends just turned around and started watching the game again. And right then the other girl came back and introduced herself to my wife. My wife walked away and the wife of our friend followed her. We left the bar soon after and shared an Uber back with the other couple. We got into a fight. We never fight about her lack of interest in going to counseling. And she told me that she thought I was selfish and not understanding. We haven't talked much since. I don't want to end my marriage, but I don't see any compromise in her at all. Before I start divorce, I want to know if there is anything we can do to save things. That said, after my original post, I tried again to talk to her about what I felt was missing in our relationship. This did not go well. The next Saturday, I went out and rented an apartment with a lease starting March 1st. I went back home and told her I would be moving out. I said I did not know what was going on with her, and since she did not want to do anything about it, I wanted a divorce. I loved her, but I couldn't live like a hostage anymore. She got really quiet and then started sobbing and telling me that I was cruel and selfish, and that my focus on bedroom activity was the issue, and that I should go to counseling for that again. I was hoping that she would have said something else, but since she didn't, I just started packing a few things for work. She asked me where I was going, and I told her I would be staying at my parents' for the next few weeks until my lease started. As soon as I told her I would be staying at my parents', she got really quiet and asked me if I'd told my parents yet. Sirens started going off in my head immediately. I said that I had not. This was lie. Then she got quiet for about 5 minutes, and right when I was about to walk out the door, she asked me not to leave. She wanted to talk, and then she told me something I didn't want to hear. She'd cheated on me with a guy in her class last year and got an STD. Nothing fatal, but not the kind you can get rid of. She told me that it only happened one time, but I am sure that is not true. I was numb. One of my female friends told me that wife cheating was a possibility, but I didn't believe it. I didn't say anything while wife talked, mostly because my mind was reeling, but also because I didn't really have anything to say. I realized now that I had said everything I had to say over the course of the previous year, and now I had nothing. After she finished talking, I just told her okay. I was numb, and I left the house with her in it and went to my parents' house about 2 hours away. I told her I would be back, but have not been back to the house or seen her since. I got to my parents' house and told them everything. They told me they could tell something was wrong for a few months and that they were sorry. I had planned to go back to the house, but my mother told me that if I was moving forward with divorce that I should not go. So my mother and father went and got a few personal items for me. Everything else I left. I also contacted a lawyer and told him to contact wife to start the divorce. Wife has called me on cell and at work a few times and even emailed me, but I didn't read it. She also had one of her friends call me and tell me to please talk to my wife and that she is very sorry. But as soon as I realized it was a friend of hers, I hung up. I have 2 weeks off coming up in April, and I plan to go to Vegas with a buddy. My parents and friends have been very supportive, and I honestly feel better than I have felt in a long time. I never thought I would get divorced, and that first week I felt like a failure because I knew my marriage was over. But my father told me something that I have said to myself over and over. Someone else doing the wrong thing makes them the failure, not you. I hung out this weekend with a girl from my job who I've always gotten along with. She saw me at work last week without my ring and asked me what happened. I told her that my wife and I were divorcing. She gave me a hug in the office, and that hug felt like the best thing in the world. After work this weekend, we went out for a few drinks and just hung out and had fun and ended up back at my place. I'm not ready for nor do I want a relationship obviously, but it felt so good to be in a bed with a woman where it felt so relaxed and accepting. I felt completely at ease. I know the divorce is going to be tough, but this weekend, even after all that's happened, I feel like it will be worth it. Last update for the people who messaged me and wanted to know how things were going with the divorce. I'll answer all questions here. Have I talked to wife or seen her since I left the house? I haven't communicated or seen soon-to-be ex at all since I moved out. For the first few weeks, she tried calling me, but I'd stopped answering any unknown numbers. She left me 2 crying messages, but soon after the lawyers got involved, those stopped. Is the divorce going smoothly? Through lawyer I offered spousal support amount he suggested in lump sum. She could have everything in the house. I tried to make it as simple as possible and keep the conversation to a minimum. About a month or so after starting, I found out that she has been telling her friends that I had been emotionally mistreating her, that I kept pressuring her to do bedroom activity things that she didn't want to do, that I wasn't supportive of her pursuing a graduate degree. All of this is a lie, of course, and I almost called her to tell her to stop this. This is the one point where I can say that I felt anger. But thankfully, my parents and friends just told me to let the lawyer handle it, and not let her get me to call her, and not to lose my cool for even 1 second until the divorce was done. Also through mutual friends, I found out that she has a dating profile on dating app and is dating. Lawyer tells me this is a good thing, and I tend to agree. There is a lot of information lawyers ask about. It's surreal to have someone you hardly know asking you very specific details about your life, finances, and other very personal things. Overall, this part of the process has been the hardest for me and has left me drained. But on the plus side, the lawyer thinks this will be done in a few weeks, so I will finally be free. Did I tell my friends that she cheated? Yes, and that she got an STI, and that we hadn't had bedroom activity in a year. I had to explain why I just up and left. I was very candid. I'm not going to carry any shame for her. How much is divorce costing? I can't say exactly. Between 100 Kelvin to 150 Kelvin for one-time buyout. Did I get an STI from her? No. I had myself checked once right after she told me, and another time since, and I'm clear. Would I get married again? Emphatic no. The last 3 years were emotionally draining for me and emasculating. Every stereotype I'd heard about marriage before I got married has come to pass. My wife was entitled and didn't hold herself accountable in the marriage. She kept reminding me of her rights and my responsibilities. She felt that everything bad that happened to us was my fault, and she insisted that her feelings become my facts. And worst of all, she would easily project her mistakes and guilt onto me and make me carry them instead of dealing with them like a grown-up. And I see this everywhere I look. I was raised to believe that husband and wife were in things together, responsible for each other. But when I look around, all I see is the message that women do too much and men are the problem. That women don't need men. That if a wife is unhappy in her marriage, then it's the man's fault. and maybe she can do better. I see it in some of my friends' marriages. My friends' wives just casually disrespect their husbands all the time. And I felt that from my soon-to-be ex 100%. My mother told me that women today compete more than cooperate, or something like that. And I can see that 100% when I look at my buddies and their marriages. And mine. Most of my friends have kids and they feel trapped. I realize now that before I met my wife, I was already very happy. I really didn't want for anything. My business was going really well, and I enjoyed my life very much. I got married because I thought my life would get better and I would be happier. That we would combine the best parts of our lives to our mutual benefit, so that our future kids would have the security of two dedicated, awesome parents. But I see now that once we got married, I basically began subsidizing her life. She expected me to do what she wanted, and expected me to allow her to do what she wanted. She benefited from a better life, and all I got were obligations. That's the most honest way I can put it. The Bible says that it's better for a man to live alone on the corner of a roof than in a house with a quarrelsome woman. I agree. There's nothing I get from being married. I don't need to be married again. Do I miss her? No. Intimacy and trust are necessary components of attachment for me, common, I think. And ease. I didn't have either with her. I had the opposite. I felt inadequate, like I was always trying to hit a target that she kept moving. I never felt that way in my life before her. And part of me realized that she wanted it that way, so that the focus would be on me instead of her. That's not love, that's evil. So no, I don't miss her. I feel like a better man now. Am I still dating colleague from work? We haven't slept together in a few weeks, but we still hang out, and I enjoy it. I would call us friends. She made all of her choices and left him with one. The price for freedom is always worth it. This experience has left him jaded about love. I hope he meets someone who changes his mind. Divorce is awful, but marriage can be great. Add to a marriage a couple of kids and life can be amazing. His marriage seems unequally yoked. He carried all the weight, and she got to find herself. I'm sorry this marriage turned out to be such a bad one. But please don't let this experience to sour you against marriage in general. Marriage with the right woman can be a wonderful and beautiful thing. You just have to be very selective in whom you marry. Make sure she is a good match. You are compatible with each other. You have the same values and concept of what a marriage should be. That there are no red flags, and that you marry an honorable woman who will bring joy to your life. Marriage is a gamble, but it can be well worth it if you find the right person. My spouse and I have been married for 3 years. I am pregnant and found out during the start of my pregnancy about his infidelity from online affairs. At the start of my pregnancy, one of the women he hit on contacted me and said my boyfriend hit on her last year then ghosted her. Then she said he recently, I was pregnant already his time, contacted her again. She sent me their conversation as proof, and it included intimate details. When I confronted him about it, he said he never wanted anyone else but me, but that a part of him wanted to seek attention and external validation. He said he'll work on earning back my trust. He never went to any of my doctor's appointments, never responded to any of my ultrasound photos. He doesn't even want to mention about it. He also asked me to not post anything online about my pregnancy because his family doesn't know, just his parents. Then eventually, as time progressed, I noticed he was glued to his phone, became more conscious about his appearance, wanted to buy new clothes. These were all behaviors that are out of character. Back then, I bought him moisturizer because he is prone to skin irritations, but he doesn't use it because he said it's too much work. Now, he uses them and asks me how he can get rid of wrinkles because he doesn't want to look too old. Also back then I asked him when he will let go of his loose bacon gartered boxers and aerodynamic t-shirts filled with holes. He didn't want to, but now he has been buying new clothes and asking me if it looks good on him. These are pretty out of character for him. I get it, people change, but the timing and background of these changes were suspicious. Then I found out he was back on hitting on girls online from an acquaintance. I confronted him and told him he needs to work on this unhealthy coping mechanism of his. He said he wanted space, so I left and moved to my house. One night I had this gut feeling to check on him. I never used the app to track him before. I fully trusted him to see where he was at. We have item tracking app installed on our phones to track our wallets, phones and keys for years now, and he knows about it and have also used it on me. He ended up being at a bar restaurant, let's call it Moxie's, until really late. This was out of character, because he usually doesn't stay out, especially not during work days. The following day we saw each other, and I asked him if he has ever tried Moxie's. He said yes. I asked him when was the last time he went and if the food is good. He said long time ago. I felt bad both, because I knew I had invaded his privacy, and worse that he lied about it. Then time went on and we were on gridlock. Neither of us can trust each other anymore. He asked for a no-contact break, and I gave it to him. He said he loves me and would like for us to work out, but we have to do it the right way by taking time off from each other. He contacted me recently and asked how I've been. We talked for a few days about superficial things not related to our relationship. Then I asked if he's ever been to a Christmas market, only because I have never been, and would like to go to one with him before my due date. I think this triggered him, because he asked if this was like when I asked about Moxie's, because he just lashed out at me saying he deleted the tracking app, because he does not like being tracked. I did not own up to it. It consumed me ever since that I did not own up to it. I talked to my therapist about it, and was told we were both aware we had the apps installed on each other's phones. That it's because he finally had something to hold against me, and I'm personalizing this out of proportion instead of acknowledging that I can make mistakes too. That this incident is minor compared to him repeatedly breaking my trust from his online affairs, and consistently neglecting me during my pregnancy. I still feel bad about it, because I don't feel good about what I did and how I handled it. But he stopped contacting me, and I don't know what to do. He isn't serious. She needs to let him go. He's not assisting or doing anything toward reconciliation. He is getting all dolled up and meeting or trying to meet women. I would go talk to a lawyer, because he is not serious about the relationship. She deserves better. She should get a good divorce attorney and get support. It will take a while, but she will be so much happier. You both are married, right? Why wouldn't a spouse have tracking apps or need access to their spouse's email, etc. if something happened to them? If for any reason one is hospitalized and unable to make a decision, the other should have access to pay bills, check bank balances, etc. because guess what? Either one of them can pull the plug or keep on life support forever. I don't get why married people have this privacy issue. There is none when you are married, or very little. He gave you reason to check the app, right? If he had never given you reason, you wouldn't have checked, right? Give yourself a break there, sweetie. He doesn't want to be married. He doesn't want to be a father. Find a good attorney and have him served. If you can while pregnant, some areas will not allow that until the baby is born. But you need to consult a lawyer yesterday. Stop playing the pick-me dance here. He essentially has abandoned you and his unborn child. There is no improvement here. You need to play hardball, or he is going to keep you permanently in limbo.